In this video, I'm going to be telling you guys 7 weird things that I do to save money. Now, this is all going to be personal for me, but hopefully you guys can take some of these and apply it to your own life or just laugh at the ones that you can't. And no, I'm not going to tell you to stop drinking Starbucks. The thumbnail was rage bait. So I want to start off with one that I know is going to be very controversial, but this is the only one on the list that really changed my life, and that was downgrading my phone. So previously I had an iPhone 16 Pro. It made a couple cameos in my old videos, but I recently just decided to downgrade to this SE. So a couple years ago I believe it was a 12 or 13 Pro. They all look the same now, but I was at the gym and then I was on like the dumbbell press and I dropped the weight and then it bounced and it completely smashed my old phone. And I didn't really have money to pay for a new one at the time, so I just got an old SE. And what I found is that I actually used that phone way less. My screen time pretty much halved immediately, and I was just way happier. So here's my philosophy on this, and I will tie it back into money, I swear. But first, I want to explain the way that dopamine works. You've probably heard about it before. All the Sigma grindset YouTubers and influencers are talking about dopamine detox and whatnot. But pretty much, it's just the chemical in your brain that is responsible for you feeling pleasure and the pursuit of pleasure, that kind of stuff. The best way to explain it is it pretty much works like a swimming pool. So throughout the day, you have your baseline of dopamine, right? That's like the pool level where your chemical is at. But when you make a big splash, someone jumps and cannonballs in the pool, some of that water is going to go and then splash out of the pool, right, onto the concrete. And then when you get out of the pool, a lower water line than you initially started with. And that is the same way that dopamine works. So when you get a huge hit of dopamine, whether that is eating your favorite food, watching your favorite finance YouTuber, Daniel Sparks, or anything else, you get a surge of dopamine, but then it is always going to crash back down and then it'll lower to what it was initially. Usually when you do the bad habits, the watching porn, the one that gives you a lot of dopamine, after you get that big spike and then it levels out, you'll have a lower baseline than you did before. Now there's a couple different things that you can do to raise your baseline. Taking cold showers actually raises your baseline dopamine by a crazy amount for like 8 hours. A lot of healthy habits like going to the gym, getting a good night of sleep, eating a high protein, healthy diet is going to raise your baseline dopamine, so you're pretty much going to feel happier throughout the day. But the way that it relates back to the phone and saving money is that when I have a less interesting, smaller phone like this one, it's naturally going to put out less dopamine and I'm pretty much going to be happier throughout the day. Plus, it decreases my screen time by a crazy amount. I just don't want to use it as much. It's not as interesting, and I'm way more productive, so I can focus on more things that make me money, like recording this video right now. You're also going to be less impulsive, so that means less quick buys on something like TikTok Shop or online shopping. And overall, I think less screen time equals a happier life. Another way that you can save money by doing this is usually every year or so when the new iPhone comes out, pretty much every major cell phone carrier like AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile will offer you a free phone by switching over. Now, usually you have to stay with the carrier for like 2-3 years to be able to pay for the phone and to actually own it. But what you can do is switch over, trade in your old phone. They'll give you the newest phone. You can sell that phone on something like OfferUp, get a ton of money for it, and then just buy another, $100 phone like this one. And then a couple years later, when you're ready to switch, you can turn this one in, get the newest, greatest phone, sell it for $800 or $1,000, and then just buy another cheap phone and then just keep doing that every couple of years. And that's going to pay for a lot of your cell phone service. But I know that there's a lot of tech geeks out there writing hate comments right now, but again, this is just a video for what works for me. But this next thing that I'm going to show you, I think everyone can value from, or at least should value from, and that is saving money on your gym membership. So there's really 2 to 3 categories that gym memberships fall into. There's the Planet Fitness one, that's going to be like $10, $8 a month, $5, whatever. And the way that their business works is they want to get as many people to sign up for it as possible, but then not actually attend the gym, but keep paying that membership fee. And because it's so low and, they think they're going to go to the gym eventually, they just keep it open and keep paying that membership fee. 76% of Planet Fitness gym memberships go completely unused. And honestly, haggling over your Planet Fitness gym membership just isn't going to be worth it. Maybe you'll save $1 or $2, but it's so cheap at that point, it doesn't really matter. Now, the next category is where you're going to start saving some real money, and that is the mid-tier to high-tier gyms. That's the LA Fitness, the Crunches, the ones that are $20, $30, $40, $50 plus. So first of all, never go and sign up online because they're going to charge you the fees. You're going to pay the most amount of money. So first strategy is one, go and get the free trial pass. They usually have them online. They'll take your information down and then go to the gym, work out, and then leave. And then a couple days later, you're going to be getting a bunch of calls from that gym. Whatever employee keeps calling you is really going to try to hard sell you because that's how he's making his money, right? He's getting those commissions. So he's going to want to make that deal happen no matter what. I have a lot of friends that work at gyms and their manager tells them that they have a bottom price that they can sell it at. So obviously what we want to do is get as close to that price as possible. So first, when they call you, tell them that you don't want to pay any initiation fee, no annual fee or anything like that. 9 out of 10 times they can waive that. Then try to get a deal that's worth it for you. You know, maybe if it's a $60 membership, you can get it for $30. If at first you don't get the price you want, just tell them that you need to think about it. And I promise you in a couple days, that gym's going to be calling you back. But if you really want to go to the gym and for whatever reason, they're just not budging, you can offer to pay them a full year in advance. Now that's obviously risky for you, but every time that I've done that, I end up getting a pretty good price on my gym membership because it's no risk for them. They know that they're going to have that money. Okay, moving on to the third money trick that I found. That is an app that I found about a year ago, and I've been using it pretty frequently. And no, this isn't a sponsored segment or anything. I just want to show you guys this cool app. So it's called Gas Buddy. I'll actually go ahead and screen record it. All right, so when I open up the app, I can go over to find gas, and it's going to show me all the prices around me. And the ones up first are going to be a good compromise between price and distance. So I can see all the ones around me, how expensive they are. If I want to go a little bit out of my way, you can see that there's a Costco 2 miles away from me. This is just a good app for finding cheaper gas. Now, usually you have your gas station in your hometown, you know, it's probably by your work. I have this special little one by a gardening center that I always go to. But when I use this app is when I'm traveling or if I'm in a new city. For example, when I went to Austin, I had no idea what gas prices were like around there. So I pulled out this app and I was able to find pretty good deals. Now, sometimes they don't always have the exact prices or the cheapest one. Maybe it doesn't pop up on there, but it's worked pretty well for me. But that Find Gas tab is the only one that I use in the entire app. Don't create an account. There's no reason to give them your information. They also try to get you to sign up for like a rewards program and I think a credit card that they have and all this different stuff that you have to pay for. Forget about all that. Don't worry about that. You could just download it, don't create an account, and it'll show you cheap gas. Moving on to number 4 in this list, we have calling up your car insurance company. And I wanted to put this one on the list because I just did this last week and it saved me a couple $100s. So what insurance companies do is bank on you being passive. It's like that frog in the pot, you know, that you turn up the heat, it starts to boil, but the frog doesn't even notice because he just gets used to the temperature. That's what insurance companies are like. They want to slowly increase your rates for literally no reason until you're paying a bunch of money. So first of all, just give them a call. I'm with USAA, which is a very good insurance company. They pretty much always give me the lowest rates. But when I checked my insurance, I noticed that it went up by like $30 a month. So I gave them a call and they were able to add a couple different discounts that saved me like $30. But if you're with a worse insurance company, you can always call them. And if they don't give you any discounts, switch insurance companies, right? Shop around for rates. Despite what State Farm tells you, they're not your friends. Your house will burn down in California and they're not going to do anything about it. So you don't have to stay married to one of these companies. All right, moving on to the 5th tip on this list, and that is to buy items in bulk. And no, I'm not talking about buying a bunch of food at Costco that's just going to go to waste. I'm talking about the boring stuff. These are going to be things like toilet paper, paper towels, soap, trash bags, toothpaste, razors, deodorant, and makeup for my 0.1% of female viewers. All those things you're going to buy in the next year anyways. You're going to run into Target and you're probably going to end up buying other things that wasn't in your budget on the way there. So buying those things in bulk, especially when they're on sale, is going to save you more money in the long term. Another quick little tip that pertains to buying stuff on sale is if you're loyal to a specific brand, wait till a big sale that they're having or Black Friday and just stock up on a bunch of stuff from them. For example, I always use Bucked Up pre-workout and twice a year they have a 50% off sale. So I'll just buy like a year's worth of pre-workout and then save a bunch of money. And an extra tip here is that if you're a Sigma male like me and you lift weights and you want to buy protein, don't buy like the prepackaged steaks. Go ahead and buy like a big slab of like tri-tip or something and then just make little cuts out of it. It's going to be super cheap. Hold up. I'm going to go show you guys. I'm running a little bit low, but you can see usually, this whole bag is full and then I just make my little cuts out there and save a bunch of money. But moving on to the next tip is going to be using credit cards. If you've seen my channel before, you probably saw that one coming. But if you're new to my channel, you're probably like, what the fudge is this guy talking about? Credit cards ruined my mom's life. And the worst example that I can give is using Goblin Curse for damage amplification in Clash Royale, right? So you got all your normal troops doing damage, but you throw Goblin Curse on them and then they do 50% more damage on top of the damage that they're already doing. And that's exactly the way that credit cards work. So I set my budget at the beginning of the month. I already know what I'm going to spend in, but then I use credit cards for those spend categories to earn 5, 6, 7, 8% cash back. So for example, I already know that I'm going to spend about $150 on gas, but I put it on my PayPal card that gives me 5% back in gas, and that's an extra $7.50 right there. You know, it's not crazy, but travel cards can really make a difference. For example, I put my $500, give or take, grocery budget on this card. It gives me 4 points back, but because those points are so valuable, I can get around 2 cents per point, so it's like getting 8% cash back. If you're brand new to credit cards, I'd look into the Capital One Duo. That's where you combine the Venture X and the Saver card to create a credit card setup. You put your dining and then groceries on your Saver card and then everything else on your Venture X. You can combine all those points and use it for travel. But there's a lot of different strategies you can use. You can go check out my channel after this video. 99% of the videos I post are credit card videos. But if you still want to get some rewards, but you're a Dave Ramsey fanboy and you don't want to use credit cards, this next trick is probably going to be pretty good for you, and that is using restaurant rewards programs. Now, first of all, I want to say I do not subscribe to the whole coupon mindset. You know, I'm not going to spend hours and hours of my time trying to save an extra 5 pennies on a purchase. You know, I'd rather just go and make more money. The way that I view personal finance is set your budget at the beginning of the month, stick to it, and then optimize your spend around it. That's why I like credit cards so much, because, you know, you're already spending in those categories. You might as well get a card that gives you 2, 3, 4, 5% cash back or travel rewards, you know? And one of my favorite ways to do this is with restaurant rewards programs. Now, I've seen some people and have like 60 different Subway, Starbucks, all these different apps on their phone. And I don't like that either. Just pick like the top 2, 3 places you go and see if they have a good rewards program. I go to Cafe Rio a lot. That's a place in California, but their rewards program gives me 1 point per dollar spent. And then after you have 100 points, you get $10 off your next purchase, which is like a free bowl for me. And that's the equivalent of 10% cash back. You stack that with, let's say, a 5% back credit card. That's like getting 15% cash back on my dining purchases. I also have Chipotle's rewards program. That gives me around 6% cash back when I scan their little like QR code thing. But the key to this is what I said at the beginning of this section, and that is setting your budget beforehand and then optimizing your spend around it. What a lot of these rewards programs are going to do is try to offer you things like extra points or something to get you to go into the restaurant and then spend money that you weren't planning on spending. So obviously don't fall into this trap, but look into opening up your favorite restaurant's rewards app. All right, so the last tip on this list is going to be using a high yield savings account. Let's say that you have a $10,000 emergency fund sitting in a bank like Chase or Bank of America. That is going to give you 0.01%, which is only going to give you $1 per year. But let's say that you had that same $10,000 sitting in a high yield savings account giving you 3.8%. That's an extra $380 a year that you wouldn't have gotten if it was just sitting in your Bank of America or whatever else trash bank. My favorite bank and high yield savings account is SoFi. That is giving you 3.8% right now, but Capital One, Amex, and Discover are also very good. I just think SoFi by far has the cleanest UI and a couple other features that make saving more fun and exciting, but you do have to have that direct deposit to get that high yield on your savings. I'll have a link down in the description of this video where you can earn up to $325 by signing up with my link and setting up direct deposits. And to close this video out, I just wanted to say thank you to all the people that have been using my links and have also been subscribing to this channel. It's been growing like crazy lately, so thank you guys for that. And if you want to see what credit cards I use and why I use them, you guys can watch this video right here.